Shabbat Shalom, friends. It's good to see yous. I haven't been around for a little bit, and so it's nice to see you and welcome and good Shabbos. Let's begin again on page 129. Page 129 in your prayer books. And remember, if you have a prayer book that has two different page numbers in it, you'll be following the page number in blue brackets. If you have just one set of page numbers, don't worry. It's designed that way. But we have different versions of our books. So we want to make sure that everybody has access. 129 at the top of the page. And as you can see, the cantor isn't with me, so wish us luck. Ready? 129. Dodi li vani lo haroe bashoshanim dodi li mizot olam min ha-min bar mizot olam min ha-min bar. Back to Dodi li. Dodi li vani lo haroe bashoshanim dodi li bashoshanim dodi li. Yafa. So, as we always do, for those who are not online and are in our sanctuary, we're going to ask you to turn to a neighbor, someone you do not know, I hope, and introduce yourselves. Share your name. Wish a Shabbat Shalom. You can turn around. You can cross an aisle. You can look in your book if you don't want to talk to anyone. Lovely. Well, thank you all for doing that. Let's turn back to page 120. Page 120. We have some friends that are going to come forward to light our Shabbat lights, bring more light, God's light, into this space. So again, 120. You folks light, and then we'll clap. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thanks, friends. Shabbat Shalom. We turn the page. 123. We have some Kiddush cups. So we have been bringing back something we used to do before COVID and everything got disrupted. We're going to invite people to come forward if there's something special that has happened to you this week, this month. You maybe got a promotion. Maybe you became a grandparent. Maybe you just got married. Maybe you won the lottery, and I want to know who you are. So If you have something sweet to share, come forward. We'll give you a little cup of juice, and then we'll make a kiddush together. We'll invite all of you to rise as you are able. 123. Oh, good. There you go. You can help pass that. Okay. Right? Oh, there's a lot of you. That's good? Yep. Oh, that's good. Thank God. Okay. So everybody take a little cup. We can say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'yahava uvratzon, Inchilanu zikaron lemaaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kindashta Mikol Amim V'Shabbat Kodshecha B'Yava Uvratzon Inchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat L'chaim. So before you put your cups down and go back to your seats, what's the sweetness that you'd like to share for this, that you're up here for?
Monday was my and Sherry, who's not here, but my and Sherry's 45th wedding anniversary.
45th. Mazel. Beautiful. Weddings. They got married. More weddings.
My birthday was last weekend, and we were in New York with my whole family.
Wow, beautiful. Happy birthday. Awesome. Well, may you all go and grow from strength to strength. Thanks for coming up. Lovely. You may be seated. Let's turn forward. Lecha Dodi is on page 138 and 139. As always, we continue with the first 5 stanzas. After the 5th one, we jump to the very last one. Our custom, of course, at that point is to rise, face the open doors in the back of our sanctuary, symbolically welcoming the Sabbath bride into our midst. 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi, Kratkala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Zachor b'dibor echad tishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad shemu tiferet v'letila lecha Dodi katkala b'nei Shabbat nekavela Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nechaki imekor haberacha merosh miketem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava tchila lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela תיחמי על יד בן ישי ותעלמי אהבה אל נפשי גאלה Shalom teret balagam besimcha uvetzolatoch emunei am segula boi chala Seated. 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShabbat, Malachei Elyon, Oli Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Marchuni leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Oni melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Yefeh. We turn forward 146. We ask you to rise as you are able. hold your place and turn to the back of the book at 677. Open up our eyes and teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivo Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivo Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. May be seated. Let's turn the page. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. 157. Let's read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Let's turn the page. That kid was into it. Let's turn the page. We are going to sing again on 161. In the English, we move to 160 and then back again. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. One more time. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu leShalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu leShalom. Ve'amidenu shomrenu lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu leShalom. Let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let's turn the page. We move into the tefillah on 164. We ask you to rise as you are able. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid be seated. On 173, let's read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. On 178. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. take some time for our own private prayer. If you'd like to follow along in the text, you can look at 179 through 181. Find any of these readings to reflect upon, or just take some quiet, some time for your own thoughts and reflections or prayers. Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael. Bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael. 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 Let's turn forward. 371 in the middle of the page. Always after a prayer for hope and peace, we have another prayer for hope and healing. Healing of body and a healing of soul. If you take a look into this little handout again, you'll see lots of names that have been shared with us in the synagogue. They're asking for us to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. They're in the midst of some struggles. They're facing challenges. And we know a lot of folks of our own who are in the same kind of space where they're asking for a little bit of love and prayer from us. So if you'd like to share a name out loud, someone who could use that kind of strength and prayer, then call out their names and let's fill up this space. (371). The middle of the page, our prayer for healing. Mi shebera avotenu lekol habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekol habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So sometimes we have these prayers for healing, and we kind of think about people in the midst of something challenging and difficult, and then we have these other prayers that we get to share where there is something that is just amazing kind of joy. So as you might have heard, we kind of gave away the punchline a little bit earlier. There's a wedding couple, a married couple. The wedding just happened. Holly Berman, our cantorial soloist emerita, was able to lead their wedding in Montana. They had slides at this wedding. It was super cool looking. If Danny and Zach, would you please come forward? Hi. How are you?
We're good.
Good
How
to
are
see
you?
you. I'm all right. Thanks.
How are you guys?
So, how was the wedding?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Well, when was it?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. That's awesome. That's amazing. And so Danny, of course, grows up in this community, is a part of this, shares lots of experiences and memories, and now you get to be roped into all of that kind of stuff, even though you're living far away. Your family has always been a strong part of this congregation, sharing lots of love, lots of music, lots of energy, lots of leadership. So to be able to share a blessing with you is really a joy for all of us. And this is just a little way where we get to wish you a mazel tov. So, a little prayer. Eternal God who blesses us, we are made in your image. We live in your world to work and to create, to love and be loved, to rejoice and be fulfilled, and to share ourselves with those we love. Grant that this couple who love each other find the full measure of joy and satisfaction in your world. Bless them, Eternal One, that they may be a blessing to all they meet on life's way. But in this way, among all other things, may you be blessed in loving each other, in appreciating how you are alike, in treasuring how you are different, in sharing your lives together in peace and serenity in your home, in the fulfillment of living and growing and achieving together, in the warmth and companionship of family and in friends, and in realizing your fondest hopes. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, Yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God always look kindly upon you and always love you unconditionally. And may God reach out to you with tenderness and give you love and strength and hope and absolutely shalom. So much more than peace, but the wholeness that we hope that we can go and share with others that we meet. So let's wish them a mazel tov. They're holding hands. So cute. Do you remember? No, okay. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, walking. The Torah portion is a really strange one. It's a really, really strange one. It's called Balak, and there's a king called Balak, and he's the king of Moab. And there's another character in this text. His name is Bilam, and Bilam is a seer, not exactly a prophet, but someone who is able to see beyond a certain kind of reality. There's a seer, Bilam, who, by the way, doesn't see very well. And there's a king of Moab, Balak. And the other interesting character that I don't really want to talk about tonight, but you should check it out, is this talking donkey who is trying to protect the seer from an angel with this fiery sword right in front of him. And the seer, the guy who does this for a living, doesn't see the angel, but the donkey does, and they have a conversation. Strange stuff. I'm wondering sometimes what occupied the attention of our ancient ancestors. But this King Balak, the king of Moab, feels threatened by these Israelites that are traveling through the territory. And there's already a promise, an agreement, that the Israelites are not interested in any kind of a war. They just want to go pass through this area and move to the land that God had promised, the land of Canaan, what we might call the land of Israel. So they want to pass through, but Balak feels threatened. And I feel like this is just our story that's on rewind over and over and over again. There's a king somewhere, there's a ruler or a leader that is feeling threatened because we exist. And it breaks my heart. Balak has no reason to attack the Israelites, but he's feeling threatened. So he sends his messengers to Balaam and says, I want to hire you to go and curse these Israelites. And Balaam isn't really interested in the job. And he's being cajoled and even bribed by this king so that he would go ahead and do this and take this curse. And so finally he goes, but he says, I'm only going to do what God says. But this character of Balak we've seen in Pharaoh before Balak. Pharaoh is threatened by the larger population of Israelites that are living in Egypt and is concerned about them overthrowing his leadership. And so he puts them into slavery and eventually has a plan to throw every little boy into the Nile River. But then God hires Moses and they leave, right? They get out of there. They make a pit stop, they pick up the Torah, and they drive. So we have a Pharaoh that's threatened. We have Balak that's threatened. We have people throughout history of some kind of European king or queen that is going to be threatened from our presence. So much so, we faced exile or blood libels, times when there are accusations of Jews killing Christian children in order to use blood to make matzah. Or other kinds of taking responsibility, or giving responsibility for an illness or a plague that might be around. And when you get a little bit further into history, a little bit longer on the road, now we control all of the banks and all of the money and all of the media, which, by the way, I'm convinced is not true because I've never gotten my cut. I'm still waiting. It's kind of hard to really think about things in this flow of history that sometimes is on repeat. And it's on my mind because the city of Boulder did something really exceptional the other day. They had a whole training for all of the different departments all about anti-Semitism. The city of Boulder and all of their departments, whether it's the departments dealing with climate and landscaping to health and human services and the police and everybody in between. And here I am on a panel having conversations with all of these folks, asking good, thoughtful, serious questions about their concerns today. How do I express my concern about X, Y, or Z? It was all about Israel, of course. And not appear to be anti-Semitic. I really want to know. It was a great conversation. I was exhausted afterwards. I wanted to sleep for a week. But it's also the conversation I'm having with folks every single day. Every day. So when I was thinking about the city and what they did, and it wasn't to tell people don't critique what you're concerned about, but ask questions and try and enter uncomfortable spaces and share some curiosity and wonder instead of just believing everything we hear. Because a lot of what we hear isn't necessarily true. So it was a very thoughtful conversation, and that made me not think of Balak. It made me think of what Balaam did at the point where he agreed to be hired, Balak expecting that Balaam was going to curse the Israelites, but instead he shares a blessing. And his words are, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, O Jacob. How cool is this community. How wonderful is what's happening in your houses, in your homes, within your community, O Jacob, O Israel, the people of Israel. There was no curse. There was, wow, there's something special that might be happening here. And we recognize that so much that in the morning service, on your way to synagogue, there is a tradition of saying, Ma tovu ohalecha, only as you begin to see the synagogue in sight. Once you see it in front of you, you'll say, how great are your tents, O Jacob, right? Because now you see the tent. And then you enter into the door, and you say another line of the prayer, and another line of the prayer. All along, you get to see the prayer of Ma tovu in all of these steps. When you see the synagogue, Ma tovu ohalecha, right? How great is this place? When you get to the door, you say, I, through your abundant love, enter your house, which is the second line of the prayer. Then bowing down, we say the next line, I bow down in awe at your holy temple. One line after the next line of this Matovu prayer. And then, when it's not Shabbat, there are people who will enter into the synagogue and they're going to give some tzedakah. At that point, they're going to give tzedakah. Tzedakah is, I don't like saying it's charity. It's so much more than charity. Charity is a nice thing to do. Tzedakah is not optional. Tzedakah is our obligation to give to people who are hurting, to give to the vulnerable. So at that point when you enter the synagogue, you give tzedakah, and then you stand and say these words. You ready? Here I stand ready and willing to perform the mitzvah of love your neighbor as yourself. Now, a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us never even heard of that before. That is a traditional custom that still continues in certain Orthodox observant circles. And I'm fascinated by this theme. The one that's supposed to curse shares a message of hope. We use that blessing all the time, and as we enter into our Jewish communal spaces, the first thing that happens is not about me and my spirituality, but is giving some tzedakah and saying, I'm ready to perform the mitzvah of loving my neighbor. Which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, isn't so easy. For me. So, I look at Balak and Pharaoh and kings and queens and people today saying the worst about us without even knowing us. Because if they knew that the first thing that one is supposed to do when they come to synagogue is to give some tzedakah, help out somebody else, and say, I love you, and act on it, well, then why would people have so much hate in their hearts? Matovu alecha. How great is this tent? If our tent is going to matter in the world, it has to live by the values that we want to endure. And the value is love your neighbor. I want that to drive us. I don't want to drive us to be Jewish, meaning to be anti-Semitism. It's not enough. It feels good at the moment, but that's not sustainable. And there's no joy in that. There's only anger. I get it, but I think we're so much more than just survivors. We're so much more. There's a great book that just came out. What's it called? Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. It's a great book by Emmanuel Akko, who is this amazing sports figure who writes a book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. An important book, I believe. And he writes this book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew, and the whole book is a conversation about him, Emmanuel Akko, with Noah Tishby. Noah Tishby, a lot of people are hearing about because she wrote a book about Israel as the most misunderstood country on the planet, and is a very thoughtful spokesperson in terms of trying to share the nuances about Israel and being Jewish at a time when anti-Semitism is really lifted up. I share this book with you because it really does give people tools by being part of a conversation. Like, there's no footnotes in this book, right? Like, I like footnotes, but there's no footnotes in this book. A lot of people are going to read this book. A lot of people know Emmanuel Akko. And they break myths. And they don't try to convince each other that one is right and the other is wrong. But they're going to sit and talk and listen and be present and love each other through it all. I'm just about to purchase 20 of these books and giving them to pastors that I know in our community and inviting them to read it and then have a conversation with me. So there's going to be a month coming soon where I'm going to have a lot of coffee in me. And so if I'm jittery, just kind of know that I'm talking to all of these folks in the community about this one book. The story that Balak shows us of not knowing us and judging, and then Balaam sharing a truth of what he sees when he really sees us, that's what we need. That's what we want. To help create some allyship. And I don't think we can forget how we also need to be allies. It's not all about us. But these days, it'd be nice to have some folks love on us too, because it's a little tricky these days. So I want to share Ma Tovu Alecha. It's good to be in this tent with you tonight, together, praying, hoping, singing, wishing Mazel Tov, listening to little voices run around, nap, I know who you are. All of it is what makes this tent special and holy. So, let's turn to Aleinu L'Shabeach, 586 at the bottom of the page. 586 at the very bottom of the page. We'll ask you to stand as you are able. Aleinu L'Shabeach. V'nema v'ya Adonai lemelech bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Be seated. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be for a blessing. If you are observing a yahrzeit is the anniversary of one's death, or if you are in a period of mourning, we invite you, if you choose, to rise for a moment, share the name of the one whom you are remembering, and then we'll continue with additional names from the community. Yesh.
Joan Bernstein.
We also remember in the period of Shloshim, those first 30 days, Everett Redburn, a friend of Hannah McGinty. We remember Barbara Traeger, a longtime member of our wider community. She and Tom were connected here and both at Bonei Shalom. And those yard sites that we remember for this week that's passed, we remember Dora Borofsky-Cohen, Howard Brantz, Max Braun, Saul Ashkenazi, Abram Friedland, Dober Blaras Friedland, Kelton Hildsley, Marceline Cameron, Herbert Carroll, Phyllis Kozin, Richard Laser, Fred Lehman, Rachel Levine, Flora Mermelstein, Rhoda Mund, Alexander Robbins, Ari Schulter, Anne Swain, Esther Wigato, Eugene Yokel. We also mark that it's been 30 years since the bombing of the JCC in Argentina. That has left a mark around the world, to be sure. And we remember Evgeny Fedor. He was 50 years old. He was the one so far that was killed in the drone attack in Tel Aviv the other day. Those who are hurting and suffering from this attack, we send strength to Evgeny and his family. As the only one that lost his life. Kaddish is on page 598. We stand together, shoulder to shoulder, symbolically holding our friends up who need to say a Kaddish this Shabbat, who are a Kaddish this Shabbat. 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'meru, amen. Yehei shemei rabah mevarach le'olam omei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kodesha barechu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'miran v'alma v'meru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'meru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'meru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and all who hurt, here and everywhere. We say amen. May be seated, and I'm going to invite you to turn back into that little pamphlet. And if you open it up all the way to the right, you will see a song we often sing. This world, I will build this world from love. Wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Wish your neighbors a Shabbat Shalom. Come, let's bring our prayer books back. We can make a motzi, have a little nosh, and wish each other well. Hi.